MD Pod presents Doghouse.
We do begin this half hour with the patient accusing a doctor of some bad bedside behavior.
That patient complaining the doctor was physically and verbally abusive, even cursing at him. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez is in our LA bureau with the story. Marcy, good morning.
Dan and Paula, good morning. That patient tells us he was simply seeking treatment for what turned out to be an extreme anxiety attack. He is still baffled by what happened next.
You're an asshole, Magpie. I just want to say that to you before I start this interview. Take my word, he's an asshole.
You're in the doghouse.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. What's going down?
Not a bud, same shit, just different days. You know how that is.
I sure do.
Well, life's an ever unfolding blah, blah, blah. The point is, I've had an epiphany.
You mean a sudden revelation about the essence of existence?
Oh, no, what's the word? Colonic.
Sorry, just getting my first coffee of the day into me here, so I'm a little haggard.
A little late for that first cup, isn't it?
Well, it's going on 7 p.m. here. I usually start around 8 p.m. and end up somewhere between, say, 8 and 10 a.m.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, so I'm the overnight guy.
Your hours are basically flipped. So you're just like a rock star, dude. You're sleeping during the day and you're working at night. So can't beat that.
Yeah, or a vampire.
Or a vampire, right.
Listen to them, children of the night. What music they make.
Well, first of all, I want to tell you, it's really an honor to have you on. I love your shows. I think you're fantastic. So I wanted to tell you that up front before we get the actual interview going. So,
thanks, man. I really appreciate that, brother. I'm glad to be on. It was kind of a weird thing how it came up, but I was just like, hey, if you run out of like cool or even interesting people to talk to, I'll do it.
Well, you've done a phenomenal job, dude. It's just not like you're not talking to the everyday Joe, so that is phenomenal. So, but I also know you're a busy, busy man, so let's get this kicked off and let's get it going.
Creeping and crawling, knocking and rocking. You were listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show.
Hello?
Victoria DeMar, my favorite client.
Oh, God. You again. How drunk was I that you became my agent? And besides, didn't I fire you?
Slaughtered, and yes, you did, but that was yesterday. Today's a new day.
Well, I don't see how anything has changed.
Vicky, baby, I have some job offers for you.
Really?
That's right. Kasey Ferguson is putting the gent back in agent.
What are they?
Well, it just so happens I got you an audition for a major motion picture. Big budget, surefire hit.
Really? What's it called?
Sharks in Space.
That's disgusting.
I thought you wanted to do sci-fi.
Are you drunk? Like right now?
Yep. Well, I guess you don't want to work with a big-name director.
Who's directing?
Morton B. Huge.
Morty Huge lives in his mother's basement. He's not a big-name director.
Huge is a big name.
Fuck my life.
Well, I'd rather...
Shut up, Kasey. You said offers plural. What are the others?
CSI New York.
You're kidding.
Vicky. Baby. Would I kid you?
Don't call me Vicky or baby. Who am I playing?
Dead hooker and dumpster.
Fuck. Do I have any lines?
No, you're dead.
Well, I know that, but I figured she was alive before.
The part is dead hooker and dumpster, not hooker that was once alive but is now dead and dumpster.
Casey, I'm an actress, not an extra.
Right.
I mean, I've worked hard to get where I am, and all I'm looking for is a break. That's all. Just one break.
Yeah, huh?
Are you even listening to me? Kasey, you asshole! Are you seriously playing Mario Brothers right now?
How about another modeling gig?
Modeling what?
Anal beads.
Pass.
You're going to pass anal beads?
Well, when you put it that way, yes.
Okay, what about a comedy?
Well, if it was a good script.
Oh, it's a good script.
Do I have to do any nude scenes?
Only one.
Well, how many scenes do I have?
Just the one.
Oh, you're such a dick. I'm not just some piece of eye candy, you know. I'm a legitimate actress.
Whoa, calm down. Don't flip your bitch switch. I wasn't going to tell you this, but I got drunk with Oliver Stone the other night.
The Oliver Stone.
Nah, turns out there's more than one.
For fuck.
But I got talking to this bartender, and it turns out he's got a fantastic script, and he'd consider working with you.
Oh, he'd consider working with me.
Yep, on 3 conditions.
You don't say.
2 blowies and a handy.
What? No fucking way am I...
Yeah, I thought the handy was a little greedy, too.
What the fuck?
Fuck this, I quit.
You quit?
Yeah, this isn't working out. I need somebody more professional.
You have got to be the worst agent ever. What do you... Hello?
Kasey Ferguson's office, hello?
Call that bartender back.
Doc's in the doghouse tonight with the legendary Kasey Ferguson. And Kasey, my honor to have you in the doghouse with me. And how the hell are you?
Pleasure's all mine, man. Doing well. Kind of on the first cup of coffee of the day, so that's sort of unfortunate, but I'm working on it. Once it kicks in, things will be much, much better. But I'm here in the doghouse, so, you know, things are already kind of looking up.
That sounds good to the dog. That sounds good to me, right? So Kasey, your show, the Kasey Ferguson Show, has been described as a mix of Saturday Night Live and Headbangers Ball. So how do you keep the balance of humor and hard rock appeal for the listeners?
Well, it's a delicate balance. I guess you have to be mindful of it at all times. I mean, I'm always trying to squeeze extra jokes in with things and stuff. You know, it's, you know, when the music is so hard and heavy, you know, it's like everyone's kind of raring to go. It's like sometimes I feel like, you know, I kind of need to let them up with a few jokes or whatever, you know. It's like kind of relentless, but then my humor can get that way at times too. So really, like, one of the most important things about the show to me is the pacing. And unfortunately, sometimes, you know, you get on a bunch of these stations, I don't have to tell you, you know how it goes. You know, they end up breaking up your show. It's like they're inserting promos or commercials or, you know, this or that. And it screws everything up because when you work that hard on trying to maintain that, the flow is completely changed. Like a commercial will break that up big time. So, you know, sometimes it's just a matter of putting like a splitter or a bumper in that just sort of takes you out of a heavier piece of music into a not as heavy piece of music. I mean, it's all generally fairly heavy on my show, but yeah, man, like you definitely have to pay attention to it at all times. And I mean, sometimes I'll take jokes out, but usually I'm trying to stuff everything in that I can. It's sort of, you know, 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, if you will. But, you know, I try to keep it where it's like, there's kind of an overall joke, but it's like it's layered a little bit. So if you're listening, there's kind of like little jokes in just about every line of the show. So it's kind of tough to write sometimes because, you know, you really want to, you know, you have to work hard to keep people engaged.
Now I'm in the room. I called downstairs for a bucket of ice, $4. Dollar tip, $5. 2 hours later, I ordered a bottle of beer. Bottle of beer is $1.25. They put it in a bucket of ice. That's called up yours.
Otherwise, you're just going to flip over to the next show, and it's hard to get them back if you lost them. So, no, you're right, man. It is it is something that I had to be kind of cognizant about in that mix, and you know it's a strange thing to say, but a lot of people told me that wouldn't work. Otherwise, very smart people, but I mean, here I am, 11 years in. You know, syndicated in 6 countries or whatever, and doing FM in Australia, whatever. But like, people are like, no, dude, you can't do a talk show and a rock show. Like, it's got to be one or the other. Either play music or do interviews. And I'm like, well, just because it's not being done doesn't mean it won't work.
Right.
That's just like completely backwards to my way of thinking. So I think it all worked out, man. It's like, I never thought I'd see the day. Like, it actually didn't occur to me that people wouldn't want to mix them together, No,
and I love it. It's a phenomenal show, and I love how you mix it like that. I do, and I agree with you that if you lose them, you lose them, plain and simple. And you never really know sometimes in this business how to hold on to them. I'll call it like an Easter egg hunt. I mean, you got to find those eggs to find the right ones to make it work. And you've definitely done that, Kasey. And you,
thanks, brother.
You started back in 2013, but you also feature some notable guests like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. So from your start until now, what has been one of your most memorable interviews and why?
Oh my God, there's been so many, over the last 11, 12 years. I mean, the one that probably means the most to me is still Dizzy Reed from Guns N' Roses, just because, it's my favorite band of all time.
Stop! We got a couple major assholes down here, like this guy. Hey, you want to flip me off? Come up here, you little punk.
Interpreter, if you see somebody beside you,
si ustedes ven a alguien al lado suyo,
throwing something,
tirando algo,
beat the fucking shit out of them.
Péguenle.
And it was like episode 18. I was still reasonably new to it. I mean, I did my first radio shift in 99. I'm an old guy, so but the show was still reasonably new, and I remember having a bit of a come to Jesus meeting with myself and going, all right, well, you're going to find out whether you're ready for this or not. Like, if you can get on here and do this, then you're meant to be doing it, sort of thing. So I got on, we had a great interview, and it was like, okay, all right, yeah, I thought I had this, but now I know, So that was probably the one that really, I mean, basically every guest that comes on, I'm super stoked to talk to, but that one was special for a lot of reasons.
Well, how did you get such names to come on and do your show, especially just starting off? I mean, yeah, you've been in the business since you said like 99, but unless you were involved with all these artists since then and knew them, how did you get them to come on your show? And how do you get them to come on your show?
Well, the thing is that I started as a musician, so I had a bit of a Rolodex to begin with. Now, I certainly wasn't playing shows with anybody at that level, but the show actually started with me interviewing people that I was playing shows with at Soundcheck and things like that, because I was looking to the people next to me. We'd be playing these shows every night, and I'm like, this person's phenomenal. Why am I not hearing them on the radio? Why is no one interviewing them? Like, this is as good, if not better than, anything I've heard in the last however long. And so I just decided, look, the band wasn't really going all that well anyway. There was a lot of internal problems, if you will. So I was like, what would be the next thing? I missed doing radio. I'd kind of given that up in order to pursue my own musical aspirations. So I started with my friends, and it sort of just built from there. Like by episode 6, I was interviewing Mitch Markowitz from the Hilarious Hiss of Frightenstein, which is sort of a legendary Canadian kids horror television show. And that kind of gave me the confidence, because everyone else had sort of been local or whatever. So that sort of gave me the confidence to reach out to more people. And I ended up reaching out to John Corabi's people, because I think I'd gotten like a press release from one of the PR companies that, like, probably the very first one that started sending me some music, Rat Pack Records. And I just threw it out there. I thought, you know what, I'll just see. They'll probably say no, but I'll throw up the Hail Mary. And I ended up getting it. And had a great interview with John, and the rep came back and was very appreciative and complimentary, and asked if I'd be willing to speak with some of their other artists. So it really came out of the work, and word gets around, all of these people talk to one another. So, I think some of my next interviews were like, George Lynch and Red Beach and, guys like that. I mean, Dawkins was like huge for me growing up. I know they never quite reached the level of your Aerosmiths and Def Leppard and the like, but I mean, god dang, Dream Warriors, like Mr. Scary, like, oh my god, just great stuff. So yeah, it really, and it's the question I get asked most, because it's like, well, nobody knows who the fuck you are. Like, how are you getting these people? And it's like, honestly, it really just snowballed. Like, once you kind of get that first person on the dance floor,
right,
and making the most of the opportunities that you do get. So I've been really fortunate. I mean, believe me, I never thought in a million years I'd be talking to all the people that I've had on. So I'm as surprised as anyone. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Well, I wasn't surprised. I'm just curious. And, I'm glad you had that come to Jesus talk with yourself, because you are talent. And see, that's what makes it in this business.
Nice, man.
F-bomb dropping and rocking till the coffin. You were listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show's Haunted House of Rock.
I'm bleeding out of my ass.
They're there, baby.
A fresh cut from Ozzy there with Dead and Gone, preceded by Judas Priest, who prophesied some heads are gonna roll. Lizzie Borden picked up an axe and gave you 40 whacks before that, making a deal with the devil. Primal Fear fled the grisly scene, running in the dust, and Black Label Society with an undead anthem of their own, leading that horde of Halloween headbangers in Parade of the Dead.
Hey, this is John 5, and you're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. Happy Halloween.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Yellow leather.
You know what? Just do whatever you want. I'm just going to try not to laugh.
Hey, this is Leslie Dean from Scary Cherry and the Bang Bangs, Freddy's Dead, 976 Evil. Fuck.
I might have to keep that in. I like that one. I'm just going to loop that over and over.
Okay. Hey, shut up. This is Leslie Dean from
Start over. I was still...
Quit laughing.
I'm good.
You ready? Okay. Hey, this is Leslie Dean, and I've been laughing with Kasey Ferguson like two assholes. I'm from Scary Cherry and the Bang Bangs. I hear you laughing. I hear you laughing. You better shut up.
I was totally doing that thing where you like sit super straight. Oh, Jesus. Again, I might have to use that one. I might have to use it. Okay, I'm going to be quiet this time. I swear to God.
Okay. Okay. Hey, this is Leslie Dean from Scary Cherry and the motherfucking Bang Bangs. And also 976 Evil and Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. And you're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show.
Gee, it sounded a little anxious. I can't imagine why.
Hey, this is Leslie Dean from Scary Cherry and the Bang Bangs, Freddy's Dead, 976 Evil, and you're cracking up and laughing with us on the Kasey Ferguson Show. Yeah.
There you go. Very professional. I like it.
Coming to theaters September 31st from legendary producer Jerry Bruckheimer and director Morton B. Huge. Starring Samuel L. Jackson, Australian porn star Crocodile Dundee, Scream Queen Victoria DeMar in a non-speaking role, and Oscar Award winner Kathy Bates.
This isn't fair!
Sharks in space.
Talk about a gorgeous sound. It was like listening to Jesus ejaculate into the mouth of the angel Gabriel.
I'm here with my neighbor's dog Yappy, who can't seem to shut the Oh, your name is Bingo. What I want to know is, why do you have to bark your hind legs off while I'm trying to record my podcast? Oh, please, you don't have Tourette's. So what you're saying is that in a roundabout way, you feel that your nonstop barking is really just a physical manifestation of deep-seated emotional issues and mental illness that has gone undiagnosed and unmedicated since your youth? Well, why didn't you say so? Well, I'm glad we got that sorted out.
Greetings, rock and rollers. Brian Roxy here from the Alice Cooper Band. And you know my boss owns this holiday. Happy Halloween. You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show.
Your journey has seen you transition from, here it is, Amherst Island Radio, to producing specials for, Q108 Radio, as well as launching a radio channel in Edmonton. So what has been the most challenging aspect of adapting to the different platforms and audiences?
Well, the show itself hasn't really changed at all. I mean, it's changed, but it's always like I really haven't changed the format much. You know, in terms of the things I talk about, maybe that kind of stuff has changed a little bit, and you know, it's gotten more diverse and things like that. But from the get-go, you know, I mean, I had a poet and a musician on as my first two guests, you know, to kind of let people know that it wasn't going to be just a music show or, you know, like I'm not just going to interview rock stars or musicians or anything like that. In terms of adapting to the different platforms, so as I said, the show stays the same, but obviously there's a lot of different things going on there. The hardest part for me, because I don't deal with bullshit very well. Sorry, I got a like menacing fruit fly that's after me here. Apparently, I just smell that damn good. The tough part is dealing with people a lot of the time. You know, station managers and money people and things like that don't understand. You know, I don't mind guiding someone through, but it's like if you really don't understand what it is that I'm doing and where the value is in it for you, then I don't know why we're doing this. You know what I mean? Like I had a conversation, this just happened the other day, because I'm actually speaking with investors about launching a new station. And the conversation that I had sort of ended with, well, we were kind of hoping to join something that was already rolling and successful. Like, yeah, well, you and everybody else, you know, like, okay. But long term, that's not going to solve your problem. Like, you're always going to be looking for, you know, the next person or this or that. I'm saying, like, build it from the ground up, get in on the ground floor, and let's work together and get this thing done. So, I mean, there's the tech side of it too. I'm not particularly tech savvy, you know. I'm a creative. I didn't get into this to become a computer tech or whatever. So sometimes, you know, you just get all the technological stuff. But a lot of the problems have, you know, unfortunately just been dealing with people that don't really understand the business or their part in it, or even what I do to some degree, you know. So, which I understand that it can be a little hard to follow. You know, I'm talking to Doug McFly and you know, all this stuff on the show, you know, this giant mutant fly that lives with me. They're like, what is this guy doing? Like, well, I wouldn't be doing it if people didn't find it comical, you know. Like, yeah, I did it as a joke. I'm like, this might be too stupid. I'm not, you know, I'll probably never do that again. And it took off. So you know what? Like, the audience wants to hear it. And I don't generally try to give them what they want. I try to give them what they need, but or what I feel they need. But we all need a laugh, man. So, you know, I've had to work hard, you know, with all these different platforms, as you're saying. It is a challenge, but a lot of it is not actually the creative part of the show. It's really just dealing with the people behind the scenes and trying to find a way to interface where it makes sense with everyone. And I mean, you know, maybe I'm coming off as a fucking jerk by saying all this stuff, but it's true, man. It's just unfortunately, you know, people want to reap the rewards, but the less you understand about the process, the more difficult you're making it for the person on the other end, you know?
I'm having trouble with the radar, sir. What's wrong with it? I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps. The what? The what? And the what? You know, the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps. It's not all he's lost.
Well, look, this conversation the other day, I swear to you, I mean, they literally wanted to put no money in and walk in once we have it up, running, successful. I'm going, well, then what do I need you for?
Exactly. Exactly. Say, did you smoke something before you came into this meeting or what?
Is your fucking brain leaking? Like,
did you just have a brain fart?
I beg your pardon, sir?
I said, did you just have a brain fart?
Kasey, so I want to switch the subject here a little bit and talk about your kick-ass Halloween-themed events that you put on over the years. And we got the fourth annual Halloween Scare-a-thon.
Yes, sir.
Which promises to be like a phenomenal event with, crossover episodes and exclusive premieres.
You are in the doghouse.
Wasn't like a chainsaw. I'm bringing a little yeehaw. You were listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show.
We shall feast upon your soul!
So, earlier in the show, I was attempting to answer those of you who had been inquiring about my Halloween plans via social media at The Kasey Ferguson Show, but Mary thought it more important to bust my balls with a sledgehammer.
Hannibal Lecter with a heart on. Hurry the fuck up then.
Well, maybe if you would shut the festering cock canal you call a mouth, I would. In terms of on-air, there's all kinds of things going on with the Halloween Scare-a-thon and such. Again, you'll find info on that and all of my Halloween airings on social media at The Kasey Ferguson Show.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. Happy Halloween.
My mother, whom I love to death, lives only a few blocks away from me. Knowing that I would be nearby on All Hallows Eve, she asked if I would watch her cat, Cuddles, so she could attend a Halloween party. Now, being the good son that I am, I protested, using as many expletives as I could muster. But my skulldugger squabbling and subsequent murderous plots against Cuddles were thwarted by my mother, who opted to kill me with kindness. And when that didn't work, she bribed me with cash, candy, and Cuervo. Hell, it might even be fun. Wrong! Mom had a list of no-nos for my cat-sitting session, so here now is my short list of instructions for watching Mom's cat, Cuddles. No using it to raise the dead, enslave mankind, or bring about the apocalypse. No satanic rituals, Ouija, or witchcraft. No using its digging skills to aid in the disposal of bodies. Al Jolson's grave is not a litter box. The only blood it drinks is O negative. Don't get it wet or feed it after midnight. Please refrain from allowing it to pounce on or commanding it to kill trick-or-treaters. Cat food is not food made from other cats. No trying to get the cat to follow the laser pointer into traffic. The cat is not qualified to perform last rites and or exorcisms. No feeding it body parts. No terrorizing it with ventriloquist dummies named Slappy. Of course, that's just the short list.
This is Lorraine Landon from Maniac Cop 1 and 2. Flo, fabulous ladies of wrestling, wishing you and yours a very happy All Hallows Eve. Be careful out there because I may be outside your window on the Kasey Ferguson Show. I absolutely love this man, so listen to him.
And then I realized I don't know anything about the origins of vampires, so... Monica, do you think you can help me out here, guide myself and the listeners through the origins? Like, where did this thing start?
Vampire mythology, maybe not using the word vampire, but like the mythology of blood-sucking spirits and demons and whatnot, actually comes from way back in ancient times. They exist in almost every continent and culture in the world. Bram Stoker's Dracula, that sort of spawned all the vampires we know in the 20th and 21st century. In the Philippines, they have the aswang, which is this bat-like thing that has a proboscis that comes out of its mouth to suck the blood of children and fetuses specifically. And meanwhile, over in China, they have the Jiangshi, which is known as the Chinese hopping vampire. And it's called that because it's stiff like a corpse and it hops to move around. And in both those cases, in cinema from both China and the Philippines, you can find examples of these vampires by watching films from those countries, if that's something that intrigues you.
Hey, this is Tom Matthews from Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. Just want to wish everybody a happy Halloween.
How do you manage to incorporate such a diverse lineup of gruesome guest shows and axe-wielding artists from around the globe into this year's Scare-a-thon?
Well, I feel like I didn't have to do much in that respect. I mean, I kind of have to get everybody to get their episodes in and all of this stuff. So content creators, if you're listening right now, hook a brother up. I mean, the ones that I already have. Sorry, I'm giving people a hard time for being late with their shows, but just ribbon, everybody, just ribbon. The thing is, I met these cats from sort of all different. Like Kristen, who hosts the '80s mixtape, I met because I was doing some specials for FM, like 70s and 80s special, and she had the show after me, and they had asked me to do a promo, just saying that we were going to be paired up for this weekend event or whatever. And so, of course, me being me, who can't behave in any form or fashion, was like, all right, tune in. It's the 80s mixtape and the Kasey Ferguson show. Look, it was the only way I could get Sassy to spend some time with me on a Saturday night. All right, so tune in, hook a brother up. What's it gonna kill you? So she heard this promo and got a charge out of it and started listening to the show, and we became friends. And I was like, we should do something together and all that kind of stuff. Black Fawn came in. I believe it was for Halloween in May, which is the other big Halloween event that I do each year. And again, it was just like, man, we should be doing something together. Kev from Speaking of Gothic came in this year. He's our new guy in for Tapes of Trepidation, who wasn't able to take part this year. Just getting overwhelmed, because that's what happens to all of us radio guys. Is that's another thing that a lot of these people don't understand, is that this stuff takes time, and not everyone can do it. So there is something to be said for expertise. And it's like, well, can you crank out a show in 30 seconds? Like, no, I can't. It's like, honestly, like some of the episodes that you've heard have taken me 3 months to craft.
Oh yeah. No, and I know, and I give credit to Magpie, because he did
absolutely.
That
shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Magpie, and a big fuck you, Magpie. And but you know what? I give him so much credit, because people do not realize, especially when you're doing it yourself, and you are doing it yourself. And so people don't realize what goes into that, and especially a 24/7 radio station, and doing it by yourself. I think it was his passion and his love, but in the end, you just burns you out.
Oh, dude, I've had it happen so many times. I've gotten so sick, man. I'm trying not to let it happen this year. Last year, what ended up happening with the Scarathon is I got super run down. I ended up, first, I think I had a really bad sinus infection, but I ended up getting COVID, and that turned into full-blown pneumonia. And I was still working.
Oh, man.
Like, still coming in and putting in, like, a 16-hour day. And when I finally went to the doctor, he like...
I'll tell you my trouble. I got the wrong doctor. You know my doctor, Dr. Vinny Boombach. You know my doctor? What a doctor. You're kidding me. Well, doctor, I called him up. I told him I had diarrhea. Put me on hold.
He couldn't believe it. He was like, man, I've had, like, pro football players come in here and didn't go in and play the game with half of what you got. And they're making, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, and you're making jack shit. Like, explain it to me. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're either a bad stick of wood or insane or both, but I don't want to find out,
We didn't have antibacterial soap when I was a kid. No! The old germs killed the new germs!
And so, yeah, man, it happens. And look, if I have my druthers, as they say in the South, I'll be bringing both of you guys with me to whatever this new thing is. It's really at this point kind of up to the money people, man, because I'm sort of in the same boat as Eric, man. And at a certain point, it's like enough's enough. Like, things got to move forward, or I'm kind of done with it. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. But I feel like I got a lot left to offer, and there seem to be, people out there that want to hear it and believe that that's the case. It's just a matter of, I've had some people agree to, some of the funding and things like that, but it's coming up with, a marketing plan and, this or that. And like, just all the like businessy stuff that's really not my bag, man. Like I do try to, run things in a professional manner for a show that's so unprofessional in a lot of ways, but it's tough, man. It really is. Like the burnout is a real thing, and I struggle with depression and anxiety issues, and So again, this is like when sponsors are like, "Oh, well, why do you want us to pay X?" It's like because of all the things that I have to overcome to be able to do this in the first place, and the time involved. I mean, when I built that last station, and it was the second one that I had built, it took me about 150, between 150 and 200 hours just to get the station built and operational. That's like, again, me by myself uploading all of the songs, fixing the existing catalog that was, put in by the sister station, doing, all of the bumpers and, all of that stuff, like starting from scratch. So, but the first time that I built one, I built it in 2 weeks and it took me 250 hours.
Damn.
I was around that. Maybe it was like 225 or something like that. But I was out of my fucking mind. Like I'd never been so sleep deprived, and like, I'm like that kid in the YouTube videos. You remember where he's like, he's coming back from the dentist. He's talking to his dad. He's like, "Is this real life?"
A lot of people think that my dad was a weirdo, but he wasn't. He was a lovely man and a great kisser.
His dad's like, "Yeah, buddy." I felt like that kid, man. I was like, it was the craziest, like, you're like hearing shit. Like, I mean, I've been sleep deprived. I, done the music thing from like 13 to 30, toured around, and, of course you're like partying and carrying on. So even with all of that, it was like the most sleep deprived and insane I'd probably ever been. So I feel for Magpie, and again, like I'm glad he's doing the show with you, and hopefully I can get this thing off the ground so we all get a place to rock and roll.
Well, if that's the case, it would definitely be our honor to be a part of you and your show and stuff. So let me get back on track, because I know Magpie's going to be pissed that I got off
Sorry,
track.
buddy.
He does that. He goes, "You talk way too much, dude."
Oh, fuck, I ramble. It's like hazard of the profession.
Dawg, I fucked your mother, so I am your father.
So anyway, let's get back to this scare-a-thon, this Halloween phenomenal kick-ass scare-a-thon. So I know the listeners are thrilled about the thousands of dollars in prizes being given away for this year. So first of all, can you give us an insight on some of the sponsors involved this year?
Yeah, man, I wrote a few down. I'm hoping I hopped in here so quick that I hope I don't miss anybody, but we got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game, Cleopatra Records, Eatable Popcorn, the Toronto Halloween Show, Stop the Killer, Sebset, Cabinet of Curiosities, Coffee Trends Kingston, the Caps Tasting Cartel, Warlock Skateboards, Bear Manor Media, Breakfast at Dominique's, Jaybird Digital Arts, and Rotten Rags. So
Holy
that's
shit.
Yeah. I hope I didn't miss anyone. If I did, I'm sorry. They'll probably never advertise with the show again. So fuck me. There's a lot of people involved this year.
Damn, dude, that's just unbelievable. I mean, fuck, I was waiting for maybe 6, 7, 8. You fucking kept going and going and going, and that's phenomenal, dude. And again, you know what? And I say this to the artist, and I'm going to say it to you. It's because of the talent that's behind it all. And your
Thanks,
success,
man. That's kind of you to say.
It's really true, dude. And I've said this a billion times. I don't ever say anything I don't have to. Period. Why do I have to say it to you?
You don't have to kiss my ass. I'm just some fucking guy.
Well, I don't want to kiss anybody's ass. You know what
same
I mean?
here.
It's like what you get is what you see is what you get and what you hear. So when I say that to somebody, I truly mean it. It's like, man, and you are very, very talented. And I thought that ever since listening to your shows, but by talking to you so far, it's like, fuck, this guy is just unbelievable. What you do, how you put it out, how you managed business all the way around 360 degrees, dude. We're not always as smart as the next person, but fuck, you've got a talent for this and this business, and that's why you've been so successful. So anyway, sorry, Magpie, to get off the fucking track again, but
Fuck all this bullshit. What the fuck?
Hey, he was saying sweet things to me. Eric, so don't you be fucking harsh on his mellow.
I just didn't care. I didn't care if I ever had a job. I didn't care if a country was invaded. I just didn't care. Fuck these people.
Yeah, don't be editing this shit out, dude.
Flattery will get you everywhere with me.
Hear that? Keep it in, dude. Keep it fucking in.
Are you staring at my butt?
No, I am not. I might have been before, but I am. Now I am again. All right, I'm stopping.
So, how can fans maximize their chances of winning during the Scare-a-thon, thrilling rock and roll and outrageous shenanigans?
Well, I would say start with following our accounts. I made some accounts strictly for the Scare-a-thon because, of course, Facebook's a fucking joke and the algorithm's drunk half the time. So, it wouldn't let me post or wouldn't let me tag or it's like, again, you just heard the list of sponsors. It's like, how the fuck am I supposed to tag all these people? You guys are like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing over there. I think there's a gas leak up in fucking Facebook headquarters. So yeah, like the Facebook and Instagram page at Halloween Scare-a-thon. So all one word, all lowercase. Of course, it'd be good if you like my pages too. Again, just at the Kasey Ferguson Show. So I created the extra page just in case something happened with being able to post or things like that. But we're doing like caption contests. There's going to be in-person draws. I actually have to go after the interview. I'm going to talk with. There's a pub around the corner that I frequent. Because, being a radio man, I think it's a moral imperative to drink a lot. This job will drive you to drink, And if it didn't, those station manager gigs certainly did. But,
my problem is I drink too much, way too much. Yeah. I get my doctor a urine specimen. There was an olive in it.
But yeah, there's there's going to be some in-person draws. There's also look, you can just listen to the episodes in the Scare-a-thon, and there's going to be, in between the episodes, there's going to be some checkpoint passwords. So you would just send the password in an email, and maybe you'll win the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game codes because they're good in most of the world. So I have them for PlayStation, PC, and Steam, and Xbox. So I think as long as it's North America or Europe, I think I got people covered. So yeah, no matter where you're listening from, we should be able to hook you up with something. So it's well worth checking into. And look, we're going to do some little trivia things too. Just, we want people to tune into these shows, and we're happy to reward them for doing that. We want to give this stuff away. It's I think sometimes with the radio contests, and I'm certainly it's not one of my stronger points because a lot of the stations I worked at, we never had anything to give away. But, I think sometimes they make it way too difficult. It's what the fuck are they even doing? I don't know how to enter. I don't know what they're giving away. I don't even know what's happening right now. So, and I think that be caller number 7, is just a bunch of bullshit. It's well, what is that really adding to anything? So, I don't know, man. We're trying to have some fun ways to get people involved, and stuff like caption contests. We all get to have a laugh. This is about building a community too. That's really what we want this new station to be. The conversation hasn't been about a particular style of music or anything like that. It's about what we want to represent and the kind of shows that we want to have on. We, like you're saying, man, it all starts with the creative side of it. And I know the money people are oh, well, if it's not making money, then it's that doesn't mean it's not good. Right. I watched an interview with Matty Matheson the other day. He's on The Bear. He's this huge restaurateur and all that. And he said, you can have the best restaurant in the world. You can have the best food, do everything perfect, and still not make any money. Your fridge can break and you don't have the money to fix it. Yep. So you know what? If there's anybody out there listening, and this is the stuff I have to remind myself of on a daily basis, a lot of times it's not a reflection of the work and it's not personal, And I'm that guy. I take everything personally, but it all starts with the creative side of it, man. And it's like you got to keep swinging, because if the show's not good, like, none of the rest of it's going to happen. You know, they might reward mediocrity for a little while, but sooner or later you're going to get found out. So if you're not bringing the heat, you know, like, you get a little time, like when you start a show, to find your fastball, you know, to use a baseball term. And it's like, you know, you might be kind of good enough to get people out with junk pitches for the first little bit, but eventually you're going to have to find your fastball and be able to deliver. So, look, I'm not saying I command millions of listeners and, you know, things like that. Like, it's hard for people to be able to do that these days. You know, like, there's so little opportunity on, like, a big network or whatever. Like, we really are our own audiences, you know? Like, I appreciate you listening, and, like, and you're exactly who I want listening, because you're going to get it. You're going to understand. Like, one of the nicest compliments that I get on a pretty regular basis is, we can hear the work that you put in.
Oh, yeah.
And we appreciate that.
Yes.
You know? So if I try to turn it into, like, you know, like, I call what I do craft radio. And I know, like, that might sound pretentious or something like that, but
no,
it's really true. It's like, I'm taking more time and I'm trying to use better ingredients and all of that, you know, one would do with, like, an artisan food or craft beer or something like that. Whereas, look, FM serves a very different function. It is by nature pretty disposable, you know, because you have to churn it out. It's like, it's really, you know, I don't want to call myself a fine dining restaurant, because, of course, I probably wouldn't be allowed into one of those places. But, like, FM radio is more like a fast food chain. They, you know, just get in and out, give them something that'll fill the spaces, and that's it, you know. Now, obviously, there's been guys through the years and gals that have brought, you know, a huge level of artistry to that, but it's difficult with that format. You know, I think we've been given a real gift with the internet radio platforms, in that, you know, we don't have to adhere to, you know, the get in and get out, and all right, that was AC/DC Back in Black, and now Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard.
Yes.
Okay, it's like, I could have figured that out. You know, like, what did they add to the conversation, you know? So, I don't know, man.
Well, it goes back to what you said earlier about giving your audience kind of a break in the flow. I like that little bit of break sometimes. I like that levity. I like something, even sometimes I don't mind a fucking commercial. You know what I mean? I don't, because it's a break, and then it brings me right back into the music. And you have crafted the art of how to keep them there instead of flipping the channel and stuff. And I think everybody that's an artist, in every possible way you can be an artist, is born with a gene.
I was born.
Magpie was hatched, but you know, you're born with something special, because listening to you had COVID, you had pneumonia, you did this, you did that, but yet you kept coming back and doing it and fulfilling your duties. And not too many people that I know of, while you were talking, would do that. No freaking way. I'm sick. I'm staying in bed. Tough shit. Run some old stuff. Whatever the case is. But you didn't. And again, it shows your passion for what you do, Kasey. And again, you're successful in my eyes. I see you going further up the ladder in success to be a phenomenal, one of the greatest, you know, hosts there is in shows that you put out. So I want to say that to you. Wow, that's one of the nicest things that anyone's ever said to me, man. That's very kind, sir. And I know you mean it, as you said.
I don't like sex in the shower. It's slippy, dangerous, and one of the worst things about prison. Welcome to the Kasey Ferguson Show's Halloween Scare-a-thon. It's a festival of fright, and it's staying all night.
Here's Chucky.
Hey everybody, it's Dwight Little, director of Halloween 4. You're listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Earlier in the show, Mary was dissecting my choice in coffin companions.
You might want to clarify that. though it's not far off. It just sounded like you were advertising a life of necrophilia.
It's a fucking Halloween show, Miri. Advertising a life of necrophilia. What the fuck? Necrophilia. Crack into a cold one. Okay, Miri, you were butchering my choices in Bedtime Buddies. I'm going to rattle off a few more names for you here. Now, I may have been drunk, but I think you'll find at least a few of these gals were hotter than Satan's house cat. Heather.
A squid with torpedo tits.
Helen.
Skeletor's squinty cousin.
Anna.
Not a fan of.
Tanya.
A cross-eyed Winona Ryder.
Arlene.
A predator with fun bags.
Wanda.
Herman Munster in a tube top.
Come on, Fiona.
Looked more like Shrek.
Belinda.
Jack Skellington in booty shorts.
Rhonda.
A Sharpay with hair extensions.
Denise.
I don't remember what she looked like, but she smelled like cabbage.
Nicole.
So obese her vagina looked like a blowhole surrounded by chicken fat.
Gentlemen, if you think your partner's got a rather large vagina, it's important to never let on to that fact, and believe me, I know, as I once put my foot in it.
All right, I was saving this one. You left me no choice. Catherine.
Catherine wasn't bad, I guess. She was just crazier than a coked-out Wolverine.
But the crazy ones are the best in the sack. Everybody knows that.
Perhaps, but they are also the best at removing your organs in alphabetical order.
Duly noted. Creeping and crawling, knocking and rocking. You were listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. My fellow horror hounds, since Tony Gardner, the madman behind Chucky, will be my guest a little later on this episode, and everyone's favorite talking doll is slicing into a new season, I thought I would celebrate and compile a short list of things you don't want to hear from a talking doll. It is as follows. Pull my string again and I'll make Chucky look like Raggedy Ann. He who smelt it, dealt it. Have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? Not tonight, I have a headache. Got any Lawrence Welk? I'll be right back. I just have to reload my gun. Your mom sure is hot. You never take me anywhere. A little Cialis will fix that right up. Well, I preferred them with Sammy Hagar. Hey, look at that. Our dicks are the same size. Can you pick up some garbage bags on your way home? Your beard is too scratchy. Yeah, dude, no one cares. I'm letting you know up front. Any touching is $50 extra. Check out what I learned from your dog today. Pull my finger. If the backseat smells like a dead guy, I assure you it's a complete coincidence. You keep that up, you'll have hairy palms. Does this look infected? Want to hear me freestyle? Maybe it's the booze, but you're starting to look pretty good. I'll check under your hood if you check under my belt.
When you get a new car, you're paranoid about scratching it. I parked at Asda. When I came out, there was a big gash on the bonnet. I said, madam.
Of course, that's just the short list.
Hey, y'all, this is Adam Marcus, writer-director of Jason Goes to Hell and Secret Santa, and you are lucky enough to be listening to the Kasey Ferguson Show. Happy Halloween, everybody. Stay scary.
You know, look, and that, like, I've tried to, adhere to the same principles. Like, there's been some incredible artists that I wanted to have on the show, and I couldn't because their new record was shit.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have them on and be like, yeah, man, love the record, and, I can't fucking do it. It's like... Shit, man. Like, without mentioning names, it's like I'm just going to have someone on who's got like a solo record out, played in one of the biggest rock bands of, ever. And I couldn't do it. It was just like, this is fucking terrible. Like, I've got no way in. Like, he's not there to promote playing with band X that was huge and that I love and loved us playing on and whatever. He's there to promote this, and sooner or later we're going to have to talk about that, and I can't do it. And look, I can't do it with the fucking sponsors either. So look, maybe this is part of why I have such a hard time. It's like, I don't think I'm hard to get along with. It's just a lot of people don't like a straight shooter. So, sorry everyone if I'm telling you you're not a fucking genius or fucking, whatever. It's like, you guys all want to tell me how to do my fucking job, but heaven forbid I turn the fucking tides around and be like, that's not going to work because the following 18 reasons. Like, fuck, sorry, dude. Like, I don't know. It's like the old man used to say, maybe if you weren't such an asshole.
Well, the other day I called my house. My boy answered the phone. I said to him, let me talk to Mommy. I heard the kid say, Mommy, it's Daddy. Are you home?
Hey, you're in the doghouse.
So listen, guys, go listen. Pull up Kasey Ferguson shows. Definitely get into on the 4th annual kick-ass Halloween Scare-a-thon. Kasey's told you where to go, and we'll be posting the same information, so be looking for it. So Kasey, thank you for joining me in the doghouse, bud. It's been a great honor and pleasure. It's been a great interview, and then you're fascinating, dude. That's all I want to say. You're fascinating, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, brother. No, I appreciate you having me, Dawg. It's been a blast, man. Well, let's do it again.
It has. Definitely, we'll be doing it again. Definitely. Doc also wants to give a big shout out to MD Pod Hub, Magpie Sally, Dogbone Studio, and Matt R. And in the meantime, guys, be kind to one another, and always, always keep on rocking. From the Doghouse, the Doc and Kasey Ferguson are out.
MD Pod presented Doghouse.